It was one man who actually won the heart of people. Yes, certainly. Ousmane Dembele, going from not being nominated, not even being mentioned in the top 30 for previous seasons, and all of a sudden getting to win it is what we call a touch of grace. And also for a certain player who was goal shy, who was always on the wing, now coming through and also playing a certain pivotal role to help his team win a treble, that is what you might term someone who was being considered a flop. He has now appeared in the great side of things. For those fans of Barcelona who are pulling out their hair and saying that Yamal should have won it, I understand, because it comes from a place of grief. Watching Ousmane Dembele play for the Catalan Giants, play a lot of games, play for a lot of years, amounting to about 6 years, scoring only 40 goals, seeing him miss chances upon chances upon chances upon chances. Some that have even gotten Barcelona fans to scream at their television sets and go like, "Come on, score!" To see him go all the way to Paris to do the exact thing they wish he would have done for them at Barcelona, looking at how much they coughed out to bring this gentleman into the club back then, they are really peeved. But hey, who can we also just attribute all these things to? We can actually attribute it to the man, Luis Enrique, because after the man, Kylian Mbappe, decided it was time, it was done. He was done with Paris Saint-Germain. He was about to move to the Los Blancos Real Madrid. They were looking for someone to come through and actually hold the fort for them. They looked far and wide, got a couple of strikers. They were not playing to the coach's, tactics. And then everything changed one game day inside December last year. Wondering which game that is? Now, let me show you a certain graphic of what was happening. So before 15th of December, this was what, Dembele's shot or XG was looking at. It was looking at 0.16, and he was having scattered shots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 goals. Now, fast forward after that game that happened on the 15th of December, his role in the team was changed. Something happened. There was a tweak, and that was what got us the Ballon d'Or winner for this year. Now, after 15th December, his XG per shot raised from 0.16 all the way to 0.21. His actual XG also rose from 6.1 to 12.4, doubling his XG. Now look at the total number of goals he got after 15th December. Before 15th, he had 5. After 15th, he had 16 goals. Now that is what you term as transformation. Moving on and checking out other things that really helped the man Dembele shift again was that particular 15th December. But now let's cast our minds back to how he has been playing over the years. At least let's stretch it to 4 years now. Now, in 2021-2022, he was playing for almighty Barcelona. Look at his shots per 90. He was averaging 2.9 shots per 90, and his heat map was mostly in the inside channel on the right-hand side. Now, you check out what happened in the next year. His shots actually increased to 3.1 shots per 90. However, he was having less action inside that particular channel. He switches colors, goes back to Paris, plays for Paris Saint-Germain, first season, having similar effects like he did 2 seasons prior to that particular one. Now you come to this season that got him all the accolades, and you see it's now spread in that box. Moving it along, and this is where the story changes. So after 15th, the position of Ousmane Dembele literally changed from being an out-and-out striker to being a false 9. Let's look at a very typical situation that happened when Paris Saint-Germain took on Internazionale in the final of the UCL. Look at the position of Kivika Kvaratskhelia. Look at Desiree Doué. So they are holding the width, and Ousmane Dembele is playing as a false 9 in this situation. Someone who was known to be, your out-and-out winger, now playing in the position of a false 9. So Luis Enrique, when he joined the team Paris Saint-Germain, was looking to recreate what he had already done inside Barcelona for the Catalans. And in that regard, he was looking for someone to play as the perfect false 9. He had the likes of Goncalo Ramos, who is an out-and-out striker and cannot actually, mold himself to play in that false 9 position. Remember who was playing false 9 for Luis Enrique? That particular gentleman also won the Ballon d'Or. Oh yeah, his name is Lionel Messi. So, what Lionel Messi was to the Catalans, that is what for last season Ousmane Dembele was to Paris Saint-Germain. Now, in this case, they were playing Chelsea in the FIFA Club World Cup. At this point in time, they were down by 2 goals, but still holding that position as a false 9 was the man Ousmane Dembele for the team Paris Saint-Germain. In such a position, he is allowed more room to create more goals and help his team than he would have done in, say, a position like here or here, trying to hold the width. Now, moving it on along, here is another game at the start of this season. The game that they came back from 2 goals down to actually drag into some penalty shootout and had a very fun time. Paris Saint-Germain versus Tottenham. Again, look at the position of Ousmane Dembele, allowing the likes of Hakimi, Kvaratskhelia to play in that sequence and give him more room in the center of the pitch and necessarily the box to create more incursions. And from such a position, his goal average has gone higher. His impact in games has gone higher. His influence, individual influence on the team has gone higher. Now, a lot of questions has been raised. It could have been Mohamed Salah. It could have been this other player. Let's check out some stats and compare the players. Now, this is for Mohamed Salah and Ousmane Dembele for the previous season, the season under which the Ballon d'Or was being given. Look at key passes. Mohamed Salah actually averages more key passes. There are only few statistics right here where we plotted that the man Ousmane Dembele does better than Mohamed Salah, and those are in carrying, dribbles, and also non-penalty goals. Yes, non-penalty goals. So that is where it differs. But when it comes to crosses, you consider the man Ousmane Dembele a winger, but because of where he was playing as a false 9, a case can be made for him not crossing the ball so much. Key passes, he's literally the man that most of the key passes are coming through. But despite that, he was able to actually also get a lot more assists. So it was quite balanced, almost balanced between the man Mohamed Salah and the man Ousmane Dembele. I understand that cases can be made, but we'll draw more inference from this. Another name that was mentioned is Rafinha. And Rafinha here is the light green or fluorescent green color, and Dembele being the blue color. Look at it again, and it just goes to show that carrying the ball in that key pocket was Dembele's, I would say, freedom from the man Luis Enrique, and he gave him back a special gift. Again, it's quite feasible here that same kind of statistics or same metrics that he supersedes or does better than Salah, he does better again than Rafinha. Moving it along and checking out one name that has always been under the radar is the man Lamine Yamal. Listen, I understand this 18-year-old, but we don't really care about the age at this particular point in time. Why? He's playing in the big leagues. No footballer is playing with his age on his back. No. So we will not consider the age here. Thank you very much. Now, considering the statistics, it's almost the same. However, Yamal has got more dribbles than the man Ousmane Dembele. That's where it gets interesting. But in general, also, you would see Yamal almost playing almost 3 times as much as Ousmane Dembele. Here's some interesting statistic. Now, let's put all this into context in the next graphic for you. So it's getting really interesting here, and we'll see what happens when we compare the likes of Salah, or certainly Ousmane Dembele, certainly Rafinha, and certainly Yamal in the next graphic for you right there. Remember that this is still Off the Cuff right here on MX24 TV, and we'll compare what has been happening in the teams. Yes, it's getting interesting, but the man Ousmane Dembele seems to have adapted a new position and made his and actually gone on to outperform what would have been expected of him from that particular position under the scope. So let's just check out a couple of things that he has been doing in that regard. So comparing the 3 players, so Rafinha played 69 games. The man Yamal played 65. Dembele played only 59 games, but with these 59 games, he was able to get 91 shots on target, shot on goal, better than the guys who played more games than him. He had more key passes than Yamal, except for Rafinha getting more than him. He also had so when it comes to goals and assists, so goal contributions, the man Rafinha had 64, which supersedes Yamal's 43. That begs the question, why did Barcelona literally put all their PR machinery behind Yamal? It's a clear case of what happened last year between the likes of Jude Bellingham and Vinicius Jr. Similar thing. Or even Dani Carvajal and Vinicius Jr. Similar thing that happened. So why did they not look at the numbers, but rather went for the name? That's where it becomes a problem. That's where it becomes a problem. Anyways, but talking about goals, still, Rafinha had goals more than the man Dembele. In the year Zidane won the Ballon d'Or, he did not have up to 15 goals. So that goes to tell that goals alone cannot win you the Ballon d'Or. The Ballon d'Or is decided on a couple of things, 3 criteria. Your team's achievements, your team's achievement, your influence on the team, and also kind of your attitude, which gets around as well. Now let's compare the man Ousmane Dembele and Mohamed Salah. This is one graphic that has been really spread around. Look at the games played. We know that Mohamed Salah is a 3-time PFA Player of the Year. No one has done it. We give him his accolades. But where he actually fell short is that one game where he was pocketed by Nuno Mendes. That is the issue here. That is like the main bone of contention here. He won a domestic trophy. Barcelona also won a domestic trophy. But the man, Ousmane Dembele, won a domestic trophy, won a continental trophy as well. So that is where it becomes a little dicey and favors the man Ousmane Dembele, because team achievement and individual influence, he now becomes stands tall because of his team's achievement over the rest of the teams in the running for this particular one. So you see total shots, Salah definitely was having more of that. Salah had better numbers than the man Ousmane Dembele, but we need to put into consideration once again the team's achievement. Liverpool last season just won 1 trophy, the EPL. And then the man, Ousmane Dembele, went on to literally sweep everything in front, joint top scorer in front. He player of the season in Ligue 1, and then went on to win the Champions League. So if we are to bring team performance, the team Paris Saint-Germain's performance supersedes that of Barcelona, supersedes that of Liverpool. Hence, the man Ousmane Dembele comes tops as that particular gentleman who deserves and wins the Ballon d'Or.